Hello everyone, Sean here with Manly Made Minute, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to my final 5 review of my very first Kendra's card challenge. However, I'm extremely disappointed. I started recording early this morning to get this video done with my final 5 and then do my final review of my first 15 cards in my first challenge ever. And I got to card 15, something happened with my technology. I went to double check where I left off and realized, well, it quit recording at card 12 as I was assembling them. And the first 2 cards I got videoed, I forgot to shut off a mic thing and I had a reverb. So I thought, well, I'll just voice over, and anyway, that doesn't work. So, since all the cards except for the final one were done, I'm like, I'm not going to remake them, I'm not going to do this again. So we're going to do a reveal of my 15. Then I'm going to show you my final 5 and just walk you through the products that I used, what I did, and how I laid them out. So let's just go down, and I'm going to show you my my first 15 cards of my first challenge. Then I'll show you what these final 5 cards and how I put them together. Before I go down to that down camera, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Manly Made Minute. Don't forget to give me those thumbs up and comments are greatly appreciated as well. So let's show you my 15 cards. I'm super excited. I'm extremely pleased on how they turned out as I was stacking them in order. I was just kind of admiring that I thought I did a pretty good job for my first 15. So let's take a look at what I did. All right, first 5, I used the Hero Arts Celebrate stamp set from September, and I did some Ahuhu marker coloring, alcohol markers, and then I went through and enhanced them with my Prismacolor colored pencils. So very happy with this one. This one I felt was plain up in these corners around these triangles. So down here I added some Nouveau drops, and then I did these kind of like a floral bouquet popping out behind these elements. So these 2 are up on dimensionals, so I could tuck that stuff behind it. So this is card number 1. Card number 2, and so I did several stamps of these and markered them and then enhanced them with my colored pencils. So I did a little trio behind this one. Card number 3, love this one because I did the Nouveau Shimmer powder watercolors behind in a pink and blue and yellow kind of theme to match my florals that I had and match my DSP. And then I did Nouveau drops. So these first 5 I carried those Nouveau drops throughout just to kind of keep them kind of matchy. All right, and then card number 4 was the one with the circles, but I threw another circle on top that was I had embossed, and then used some watercolors to color the embossing part. I was just kind of testing that embossing and painting on the embossing folder and smushing it together and running it through. And so I decided to cut those in circles and throw them on there to get that leaf-free match. Shimmer powders behind there again in black and yellow, and then I splattered it in gold, so you can kind of see that gold flecks behind there. All right, last one of those, that's first set of 5. So card number 5, I had some scraps of paper, and I still wanted to do, I was still going to do the same floral, so I just took these little bits of scrap, I shimmer powdered them with rainbow powders, and then just dried them up. Then I stamped the images on them and then just fussy cut those out. And so you can kind of see, still carried that, no, I didn't fussy cut these, I just used portions of those dies to cut those sections off of those little scraps. And I did that for the leaves and the flowers, so I just had this little rainbow kind of bouquet. Okay, so that's your first 5. Second set of 5, I used the Altenew Folk Flower stencil. It's got 3 stencils on it. It's super, super easy to stencil. It was my first stencil I bought for layering to try to figure out that concept of it and lining it up, and so I bought an easy one. So this is super easy to do. Comes with stamps that you can add the little leaf things and stuff on there. And so this one I just cut a little square off of that stenciled piece, put my sentiment in the middle here, and then layered that DSP per the pattern laid out on our layout sheets, right? So that is card number 6. Card number 7 now, this stencil came with 1 die cut that you can cut out a full flower and leaf. So I cut out 1 and then laid it behind my sentiment of the wave of it. I just wanted it like it was growing up out of that sentiment. And then you can see I did a green and pink one, and then I did an all pink. And so I took that half circle and just cut that and put that behind. So I just layered my 2 different stencils I did. So I did a stencil in green, blue, and pink, and I did an all pink stencil. All right, this one, so this is 6, 7, and 8. This one, this square piece behind, I ombre'd in Distress Oxide. I layered ombre'd with blue, green, and pink, ink splattered it with black, and then I ink splattered my background with yellow, pink, and blue to match my DSP and match my florals. And these were in watercolors that I splattered with. And then I took my scraps of the stencils after cutting pieces out, die cut out the little pieces, laid it on here and just trimmed it off. So I just used scraps to layer around the edge of this one to carry that theme throughout. All right, this is card number 6, 7, 8, 9. This one, I can't remember the embossing folder I used on this one, but I did, it was a, I don't remember. Simon Says stamp, I will tell you that. Then I took my Perfect Pearls in pink, blue, and yellow with a little brush, and I brushed it on in random spots. Then lightly shimmered over the top of that. Then what I did to set this, because now it's not, a little bit comes up, but it is set. So then I lightly sprayed it with water, like misted it, and then just pulled it through that mist in the air, pulled it through that mist to set that. And then you can see I just cut out one of those florals. I did emboss in the same embossing folder this white piece, so you can kind of see it's got that embossing on that white piece behind. All right? All right, then this is card number 10. And I took half a circle of that green and pink one that I made for the stencil, put it here, added my 3 dots, which was the extra elements you can add, and just used, these are from Trinity Stamps, and added some embellishments there, and I did the same embellishments on all the sentiments on this set of 5. So this is 5 through 10. All right. These are my last sets of 5 that I did this morning, where I had some technical difficulties. So what I did here in this set of 5 is I used the Altenew Simply the Best stamp set. I'm going to zoom out just a tiny bit for a second. And I used all the same sentiments off of this for these last sets of 5. This is a layering stamp, but I did not layer it. I used these 2 elements separate, and I did some embossing with them. I did emboss on vellum for the very first time. I had to watch a video on how to do it. On the best one I found that worked really well was I embossed it, but then to heat it, I got my gun really hot, and then I just kind of lightly, brush that heat over, pull it away, brush the heat over, pull it away until it melted really nice and even without melting or burning my vellum or shrinking my vellum. So I did just this one in this outdoor denim embossing powder that I have. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure where this is from. It does not have a label on it except for this. This is in that pack of stuff I bought when I first started doing cards 5-6 years ago from a lady on Facebook whose mother died, and I got a whole bunch of her like close to my heart stuff, scrapbook.com stuff, and a huge stack of 12 by 12 that I'm just now finishing up. So that's what that is. I think maybe scrapbook.com, but I don't know. All right, so I took 3 of my vellum elements, stacked them in the corners, put my sentiment here in the corner over top of that one. I did just put little dimensionals behind this embossing to pop these up just a little bit, and kept these so that they kind of curl up a little bit. So that's card 11. 12, I just moved my sentiment from here to up here. And then on this one, I took another piece of DSP that matched everything. It had some, this seemed to match my Coral Cabana, which is here. A little orange, a little mint green, a little lime green. I embossed this element from my stamp set in white, fussy cut that out, which I just love this, by the way, and layered one of these vellums over it and moved my sentiment. Now here, I used this generic stencil I've had since I started card making, one of my first supplies I bought. And I just took Coral Cabana by Catherine Pooler ink, lightly. Didn't even put pressure. I just moved my brush over the surface in about 4 layers with Coral Cabana to get this very muted, blurry kind of look. I didn't want that to overpower, but I thought it was just too white and too stark popping up. 11, 12, this is 13, one of my favorites. So again, 2 more vellum elements, same thank you stamp set stamp from this set. This, I took this Floral Geo cover plate by Sugar Pea Designs. I took a scrap piece of paper and I just colored it with the Fiesta Blue. I just took it and rubbed it over. It wasn't even. I just rubbed and I didn't even worry about it being even, because once you die cut it, you don't even notice. And if it was a little like mutey in spots, I didn't care because it would have looked nice that way. So it did set back nice though. One of my favorites, because I think I added this element at the end and it just made this card. So this is 11, 12, this is 13. Here's 14. Now this one, I took and made my own designer series paper. So I took scraps of paper about so big, stamped, I believe it was this one, in blue and browns all around. Then I used, from Whimsy Stamps, I used this scalloped rectangle set and cut one piece out. Then I took another piece with a rectangle, stitched rectangle, took the one leaf in each corner in blue and brown and glued these two together. I had already put this on dimensionals on my paper and it was missing something. And on one of my cards, I was supposed to throw elements like this layered, but you can see they ended up being too big to lay on the card I was trying to lay it on. So I tried to throw these in a card ever since, and they weren't working. So then I was like, well, maybe I can just use my leftover vellum pieces. And I was trying to tuck them, and it wasn't working on this card. And it was missing something. Well, then I'm like, I don't do this enough. I don't use vellum enough. What am I doing? So I took and put this larger scalloped rectangle, cut a piece of vellum, and layered it behind. And I'm like, that's perfect. That is all. It needed something. And it wasn't bling. It needed a floral. It needed something. And this just made it for me. So I added a little piece of vellum behind that. And I just thought that was it. That's what it needed. I'm not touching anything else. And we put it aside. All right. My last card, 15. And I set this one aside because it is still drying. So card 15 is this one. And you can see I've used my Nuvo drops. That's what's still wet. I used a half a circle of that DSP that I homemade for that scalloped one. That's what's left over. I took that half circle element, had stamped it in the with this floral in blue and brown. Then I took this refracted embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp. There it is, and just ran it through just to give it a little more quilty kind of feel. And then I took the other half and cut it in half to use in my corners of here, because again, I tried to pull these florals that I had left over, and you can kind of see, I'm not going to touch it down because it's still wet, but it's too big. And then it was covering, and then if I put it underneath, it was way off my card, and then this just didn't seem to fit. This is originally was supposed to go up in the corner, and it just wasn't there. So I decided just to leave it as is. I just took this, and then I'm like, I'm going to add something here, because I felt it was missing one thing, and then I added my drops, and it was good. So, and then I just ink blended here in these corners, again, with my Fiesta Blue. And then I used Cove Blue, and I'll show you, not in this card, I didn't yet, but on the inside of these final 5, I took and just layered a piece of white to write on, and then I just stamped in Coral Blue that element to bring these elements into the inside of my card. All right, let me just show you now one last time the final cards here. Since we got a little extra time and I didn't get to put together my, how I put together my final 5 cards this morning, I'm super bummed, so sorry. I will try to get better on that next time. But let's just take a look at these final cards. Okay, card number 1. I'm going to do just a tweak so we get nice and close up, and there we go. Card number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. And number 5. Love this one. Love, love. Number 6. Peekaboo little element in there, or little sentiment. Number 7. Number 8. 9. Love this one. It's got a kind of a baby theme, kind of, baby shower theme. Could have switched out an element for a congratulations for a baby shower. I think this is 12 or so. This is, that was 14. Sorry, that was 10. Now this is, I think this is the start of my last 5, isn't it? It is. Okay, last 5. So this is, let me turn those. This is 11. 12, 13, 14, and then my final one over here is 15. There you go. There are my first set of 15 cards for Kendra's card challenge. Couldn't be happier with how they turned out. This was really fun. Really pushed me to kind of think and use some different products and use products. My goal was to use products I don't use very often, and product I don't use very often, like the vellum and different things, just to try to incorporate and get my designing brain going to make these work. So I got to take pictures of these this morning, get them posted on the Facebook for Kendra's Card Challenge. Then I've got to find the link to get these posted for the contest. And this is my first month. So 2 more to go with these designs for quarter 1. Thank you so much for hanging with me. I apologize I couldn't do the here's my final put together, my final cards, and then my final reveal, but I don't think I had enough coffee here this morning to make everything function like it should. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you follow me. Instagram is Manly Made Minute, and you can follow me there as well with other pictures and things that I post that's not on YouTube. And thanks for hanging with me. And until next time, I'll see you then.